Hey everybody, Steven here from Trader Genius. I'm going to be doing a live trade and showing you guys how the software works and explaining a little bit here, a little bit there along the way so you guys can get a better idea of what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, so right here we have NVDA. Now I'm going to open up a couple other charts just for perspective. Each one of these is a day. So what that means is one candle per day. As you can see, NVIDIA has been down for a while. Used to be up above 220. So now it's trading at 147. So this is quite a drop. What that means is something significant happened here. Now we don't focus on the news because we don't want to speculate. What we want to do is we want to wait until something's happening. We want to get on and then get off before it stops happening. And that's it. Okay. So here we are. We're kind of a gap situation right here about before last week, and we're sitting right here. All right, so that tells me what I need to know. I'm going to go to the 2-hour chart. Now I'm just doing my due diligence here. I'm just checking things out. We have a slight breakout above a previous high, so that's a good indication that there's less resistance to the upside than otherwise. So this is a good indication. It's also low volume. Volume is indicated by the width of the candle. Okay, let's go back to our day trading perspective. 1 minute per candle. Now, as you can see, there's these little markers that show up every once in a while. This tells me when conditions are low risk for going up or down. In this case, it was going for down. There was no follow through because it hit a pivot. And right here, there was no follow through because it hit a previous high. So the market today is doing not so good. It's going sideways, which means it's cyclical and it can be very tricky. So you have a decent volume right here. Again, volume is represented by the width of the candle. And then it goes low volume, doesn't do much, and kind of rises back to where it started before at a pivot. So these things are very important. Overall, today, conditions are not very good. So we're going to be very careful, get in and get out and call it a day pretty quickly. Okay, so this is how we buy and sell. Well, this is how we sell. This is how we buy. As you can see, buy call, buy put. You have your settings here, so you can put your settings whatever you want. Now, I'm only talking you through the program right now because nothing's going on. Nothing's indicative that anything's happening on those 3 masterful groups that we look for. Okay, that's going to be the market, the timing, and what is our plan. So if I get in here, where am I getting out? Okay, so when I buy in here, when it gets filled, it's going to show up in here, and then we'll manage our position. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go. Nothing's happening currently right now. It's sitting on top of the previous high on RA right here. RA, these unbelievable lines, as you can see, are very influential and important. We pay attention to them, and most people don't even have these lines. I don't think anyone has those lines actually except for us, so doesn't matter. We're going to pay attention to them. It's sitting on this line. What I'm looking for is for this thing to break out of the risk zone with a little bit of power. So we're looking for volume, or I'm looking for it to just kind of float up with no volume. So there's 2 different things going on when both of those conditions occur. Number one, if it's a lot of volume, then what that means is there's someone getting into that position. Usually you're going to have a market support in that case too. So that's going to be probably a quicker trade than a low volume rise. So what that indicates is there's less resistance to it going up. There are 2 different things going on systemically there. Okay, so if there's less resistance going in a direction, then you need to pay attention to what's going on generally in the market, because there's not a lot of resistance, right? So if there's a momentum trade, that means someone's in particular looking to get into NVIDIA for some reason. Maybe they know something, maybe they're just thinking they know something. It doesn't matter to us. All we do is watch and wait for it to happen. So we're just going to keep our eye on it right here because it's not going anywhere. It's sitting on the previous high on RA. All right, so a big price here at 147. We're going to see what happens. Right here, it's just floating right above it. The market's kind of floating up, and we're looking pretty good. So this is low volume, but it's getting a little resistance right at that dollar mark. So there's a battle going on here between a bull and a bear. They're just baby bulls and bears right now. So we're not going to give it too much credit. We're just going to wait for something a little bit more obvious. And that's it. So that's the process. We just wait for it to happen. These little markers will come on when something significant happens. And then we get in. And we get out before they turn off. That's it. All right. We may be here for a while. It's not an ideal day on the market. A lot of people get wrapped up into the hype of the day. So when you're sitting here, there's a tendency to want to trade, which is very, very difficult to combat, and not even it's difficult to be aware that it's happening in the beginning. You don't even know it's happening. So you have no idea that you're supposed to be practicing patience. But let me tell you, practice patience. If you see things like this over here, right here, where it's gone flat, volume's kind of doing nothing, it's just really looking kind of not good, not bad, just nothing's happening, it's a great time to practice. So you're moving towards something instead of averting. Do not avert the problem, go towards it. Practice something. So right now I'm practicing patience and I'm waiting for conditions to be met, and that's it. So I can remain stress-free and say, you know what, I'm not attached to this. I'm actually detached and I'm having a good time. Okay, we're back above 147. It's just playing around right now, so we'll give it some more time. People are very unsure right now in the market, and it's like, well, they should be, because everyone's very, very concerned about really, really big money moving out of the market very, very quickly, or even overnight when there's nothing anyone can do. So they're just going to wake up one morning and a bunch of their money is going to be gone. And that's where the cascading effect comes from, where there's an amplification to deal with some sort of problem for everyone going in their own self-interest. So if you wake up and your stocks are worth 20% or 10% less than they were when you went to bed, how are you going to feel? Well, a lot of people are just going to pull all their money out really quickly. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. It's not important. We're just discussing the systemic effect of amplification. So if you understand that, if you understand those systemic effects like amplification, you can now use that to your advantage. So keep in mind, when you see things, start thinking from a more general perspective. If you had the ability to affect the market with the amount of money you had, let's say you had hundreds of millions of dollars or even billions of dollars, what would you be thinking about your money being in the market in these times of what's going to happen? I don't know. Let's say, is interest rates going to rise, or what's going on with the next presidential election? Those big ticket items that those big time guys are looking at, or girls, and well, how would you feel? So keep that in mind. Look at things from a general perspective, and you're going to have a lot easier time managing your own money. Okay, so we're staying above 147, which is good for a call. Now, good meaning when you have resistance or support at a certain price, it tells you something. And that thing is, okay, the people who own this stock are generally speaking not selling it. The people who are trying to get into the stock, well, we can see that there's not that many of them right now because the volume's down and the price action's moving a lot for low volume, but it's not really going anywhere, meaning it's not trending. So we're going to keep our hands off the trigger. But guess what? This is our chance to practice patience. Just be okay with whatever happens. And that's it. So let's talk about this real quick. The market, this is the speezy, the SPY. Okay. Now, what do you see? Do you see a lot of people buying, or do you see a lot of people selling, or do you see abrupt movements? What do you see? Look in the mirror and tell me what you see. Cool runnings. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. What I see is very flat behavior, low volume, and whenever there's big money involved, they're selling. Remember, the width of the candle is volume. And then we kind of float back up, and every time I see a volume spike, that's what these are, these magenta and yellow, we see a decent amount of movement happen, and it's going down. So this morning, the bigger money, which significant, it's not really significant amount of money, but the bigger players for today are selling. Okay, so keep that in mind when we move forward, because this is the most powerful force for any trader or investor, because it outlines the market rules, the market conditions that everyone has to play by. So it has a lot to do with some boring things like access to debt and interest rates and stuff like that, but it's not important. You don't even need to know that, because the behavior indicates what's actually happening. Okay, so these are just responses to basically environmental conditions. So these guys and gals with big money are saying we have a lot of opportunity right now based off of our business model, or we need to tighten things up, go into cash, and maybe redistribute some of our funds and assets to benefit from different rules. That's all it is. Okay, so this is the market. How do you feel about going green? What's going on, Netflix? Okay, cool. Netflix is going green. It just broke out. We got a previous high sitting right above. Let's go check it out on a different scale. This is the daily. Here we are. Doesn't look good to me, okay? And this is why. You got a lot of gappy type of behavior right here. Really good for the people that were going up, but then all of a sudden you get some sellers here. And now we're in this sideways movement, moving towards possibly a double top or a breakout. What that means to me is anything can happen, because look how much it moved in such a short period of time. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. It went up $100. Wow, that's over a third of the value of the entire stock. Okay, there are some people that are selling, and when I look at the volume of these things, it's not a small amount of volume. 18 million, 13 million is kind of small, 11 is kind of small for this stock. It's all relative. So 27 million is not small. That's pretty big. So what we're looking is anything above 20 million is significant. I'm just saying that because I have 30,000 repetitions. But you don't need to know that. Remember, we have the tools that teach you this stuff. It's no problem. So right here, I'm just not feeling good. I'm not feeling confident that this is going to continue in any direction. It's very abrupt right now, and the market's heading down. Why would I be going against the market? Okay, let's go back. Let's see what is up with NVDA. Okay, NVIDIA is just kind of sitting right there on the previous high, not going anywhere, right above 147. All right, that's great. So did it follow the market downtrend that just happened? This one, did it follow? Here we go, we'll go back. No, it did not. That tells you something. Okay, so if NVIDIA did not follow the market, and it's holding, but it's not moving anywhere, what does that mean about the people that are looking at and paying attention to NVIDIA today? It means that they're not interested in selling yet. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, and we never will. And that's the secret. Don't try to figure that out. You're never going to figure that out. It's a fool's errand. You can actually be successful without trying to figure that out. It's a lot easier of a math equation when you let go of trying to figure out what the future is and you build a system that accounts for anything in the future. Yep. Okay, so we're just hanging out. We're not doing anything yet. Just keep an eye. We do know a little bit more about Netflix now. Sorry, NVDA. It didn't go down when the market went down. Okay. Let's take a look at some other stocks. Apple, same thing. We got a little bit of following the market, but guess what? Generally speaking, it stayed up. Interesting. Okay. We want to know these things. Looks like it's about to break out and reach a big price at 170 if it breaks out. So there's not a lot of room between where it is and where 170 is, where it's probably going to get resistance. I'm going to stay out of it. All right, NVIDIA, where are we at? Okay, there's our breakout low volume rise right here. We got our marker. Almost everything is in place. Let's just wait for a second and see. Let's see if it holds. If it holds, that's our signal to get in. Okay, it did not hold. Good thing we didn't get in. So we're going to wait. We're going to give it a little bit to warm up. Okay, think about it. When you're doing anything, do you just jump right into it? No, you want to warm up. You want to take a little bit of time. Make sure that, before you jump into the water, that it's deep enough. Those kind of things. Trading is no different. Use the same principles you use in your own life for trading. Don't change them up just because it's happening on a two-dimensional chart and the colors are pretty. Use the same guidelines. Make sure things are looking good before you do it. And if they go against you, just get out. We call it GTFO. Get the freak out. Okay, the market is not supporting, which is why this is not following through. And guess what, guys? We didn't
Blue
get
star.
in.
Tilray.
That's my system telling me secrets right now about other stocks, but we're looking at this one. Let's go check out Apple. I bet it's going to 170. I know the word bet means, you know what, it's going to 170. Here we go. 199, 99, 1 cent to go. Oh, there it is. All right. How did I know that? Because I've got a lot of repetitions. Okay, you can actually train to be able to predict the market just like that in a very, very accurate way. We're talking about above 99%. You can do it, but it requires a lot of practice. A lot. Anyways, it's not the point. Remember, this was not a tradable moment for us because it was too close to our exit plan. So if we were to get into the trade at 169, you could see there's a whole dollar of movement. That's great. Now this is going to come back down to 170 here because there's a massive volume spike and it's about to hit RB. So we're looking at, this is a high risk scenario. Now let's watch this price and see if I'm right. Here we go. It may take a
Blue
little
star.
bit, it'll take a
Apple.
second, but we will see 170 in the future. It'll probably bounce down and be supported by 170. Now here's the trick. When you're looking at this, yeah, of course there's always money to be made all the time. You just got to be able to know what you're looking at. All right, here we go. This lost its momentum, and now there's not as many people buying. This was one run, so it's fighting right now. It'll probably bounce down just below 170, and it'll play sideways for a bit, kind of like this right here. These patterns right here and right here. So we're not really getting the momentum increase as it was right here. This is volume genius. This is one of our best tools. The volume has lowered. It's decreased. So that means to me, hey, look, this trade is over. If it continues, it's actually a part of a different trade. Now remember, 1 minute per candle, that's fast. You got to be ready. You got to be on your stuff. Okay, so we're getting a low volume rise. All right.
Blue Star
So that means that
Netflix.
no one's selling it. Is this a time to get in? It's a little bit late for me. That means I'm in the high risk category. I'm not going to get in. Remember, I already told you 170 is probably going to happen here in a little bit. When this, whenever this thing ends, here we go. 4 and 3. There it is right there, okay? So this is the live market. This is not recorded. All you're seeing is a reflection of a bunch of practice on an amazing system that shows me the right tools. That's it. So we're staying out of this until we have good support for a different trade. Let's go back to NVDA. Okay, we talked about it before. We have a higher volume breakout. Market is supporting in a weird way though. You know, it's not really that convincing. So we can get in here, but the price at 148 is right up there. So let's go ahead and let's wait for a second. Wait for it to hold above the candle because there's not a lot of stuff going on. See, now it's coming back down. I want to see if this stays above the 50-cent line. That's right here. It's annotated by this dotted line all the way across. There's a little bit of a fight going on. Market support's not really fantastic, but it's good. Okay, here we go. That's what I was looking for.
Waterfield.
Now, I was looking for it to go to a new high, and that's it. So let me go ahead and open up the positions window. So this is how we actually manage our positions when we're in them. So what we're looking at right now in options, oftentimes you're going to get a negative moment. All right, we just broke above. I'm just going to get out right now because I like the time value of money. Okay, so if you're in a position, we're not out yet, just to let you know. I sold, I think it was at 1.1%. So we're about to get out right now. 1.9. Let's see. It's sitting out there. We have a order that's out there. It's not filled yet. So if it bumps back up, then we're going to be able to get out. So I'm going to actually, there it is. It filled because it went back up. Volume spike. It's done. It's a done deal. So here's what you got to think. Here's the considerations for that trend right here. We had our magic marker. Okay. It was on. It was telling me that the underlying conditions are good to go for going up in this case because we have a green trend. If it was a red background, guess what? Right here, these are good to go for red. But there was a pivot, so we didn't touch it. All right. By the way, we have training that teaches you all this stuff. So if you're interested, take the free trial, talk to us. We'll talk to you. We'll show you some things that we have. No risk, no nothing. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. That's it. Cool. All right. So this is what happened. We had a volume spike right here at 10:12. This is the timeline on the bottom. Volume spike. Good. It held up above 50 cents, which is this line right here. All right. So we got confirmation. The market was going green during this time. And my plan for exiting was to get out at 48, 148. That's the solid line right here. So as soon as it did, you got to get out while the bid is rising. Okay, so here we are. We're talking about why we got into the trade. We got in because there was a volume spike, there was market support, and it stayed above the 50-cent mark. Our exit was at 148. That was our plan from the get-go. As long as the market stayed supporting and the actual stock did too, where you get a little jumpy behavior because, you know, today's not a great day. This is pretty good, but it's still within that sideways territory from earlier. Hey, all we're going to do, we're going to get in, we're going to get out with some money and call it a day. So our exit was right above that 148. All right, these magic markers right here, they told me conditions were good. So as long as I have a couple other things in line, very, very low risk trade for either going up if it's a green background or down if it's a red background. All I do is I press my buy call or buy put, depending. Today it was a buy call. And I got out with my close button right here. It took a while to fill because I got out as soon as it jumped up. Remember that volatility, imagine a rubber band. So if the price goes up and then the value's still down here, all of a sudden it'll shoot up and it'll overshoot. Okay, in terms of value, supply and demand, it'll overshoot and then it'll come back down to its real value over time. So what happened is, as soon as that overshoot happened, I pressed sell, and then it took a while to come back down to its real value, and then it got me out of the position because it held. In fact, it's holding quite nicely. So this is not a time to get back in. Remember, one trade, call it a day. We're doing something very specific here. You gotta be a pro. If you're gonna do this, you gotta be serious about what you're doing. Okay, that's why we got out. It went and hit our price mark. Hey, our standards are absolute. Our system rules are absolute. It's done. So got in, made some money, got out. I'm gonna go do something cool. Okay, so a lot of information today. When you're writing your notes down and you're taking it away, there's a lot. There's about 10 years of stuff within this one episode, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to show you how this system right here, with a couple things like green background telling you if it's going up generally or down generally, with a red background. Let me get this stuff out of the way. This is the live market, all right? And K-band, which is the blue and yellow, that tells you things are happening fast. Hey, look, it's looking good. It's moving quickly. Okay, do you need interpretation for that? No, it's either on or off. All right. Some volume spikes. Look at the width of the candle. Now, how do you know if things are good or bad to get in or out? Well, if you have small candles like this, think of climbing a tree. Okay. Everyone at some point, almost everyone, has climbed a tree. Maybe when they were a kid. When you were a kid, you knew this instinctively. You don't put your weight on small branches. Don't do it. Don't risk your life on small branches. You want to go for the bigger ones, the thicker ones that look good and that can support 10 times your weight. It's no different than climbing a tree. All right. So that's what we did. We waited for the good branch to show itself. And then we grabbed onto it and we pulled ourselves up. Well, this is a moving branch. It pulled us up. And then our plan was to get out at 148.00 as soon as it blasted through that price. Remember the volatility slingshot. We got out, really, really good timing, and we made about 2%. Not bad for a couple, couple minutes. Guys, that's it for today. Trade-a-sode. If you like what you see, again, we are accepting new members into the club currently, and we have a team of coaches that are sitting and standing by, ready to talk to you. 10-day free trial. This is only one of the functions of Trader Genius system. Okay, guys, if you like what you see, daytradergenius.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're going to start doing a lot more social media stuff so we can share what we're doing because obviously it's very, very effective. All right. Thanks again for watching, guys. See ya.